Hey guys, I wanted to riff on something and sort of kind of give a little bit more about my cause as to why I am doing content on this channel regarding religion. Um, it's because I believe that the way that we help humanity, the ultimate way is through religion. I believe it's the only truth. I don't believe there's any truth other than it. And a lot of what got me on the journey of delving deeper into religion has been specifically trying to dispel a lot of superstitions regarding religion that I've seen out there. A lot of people that have subscribe to a lot of religions, they will, in other words, put out a lot of superstitious and false information to other people. And I was against that, and I'm still against that. There is wisdom within religion through God that will help us be able to live a better life. And essentially, that's what has only thing that has helped me in my life, since adulthood. And it's the only thing that I can imagine helping anybody. There really is no knowledge out there other than the ultimate knowledge and direction from God. No matter which way you look at it, psychologically, philosophically, knowledge wise, in any field, there's no complete truth out there that exists. The only complete, ultimate truth that can help you is religion, in terms of God's religion, God's message for humanity. And that's what I see as the strongest and most powerful message for us, period. Okay. I was listening, like anything I look at, I kind of relate it back to religion and my relationship with my faith and with the message of God as well. For example, I have this verse pulled up where God here says, and how the devotees fought along their prophets and never faltered despite their losses. The implication is their losses. They suffered in the cause of Allah, nor did they weaken or give in. Allah loves those who are patient. The word here is persevere in this translation, but the word is patient here. Sabirin.
الصابرين.
And it says, Allah loves the Sabirin. That means God loves those that are patient. Or another word for patient could be those who patiently persevere or those who persevere, but persevere with patience. The idea there is, what is patience? Some people might say that, we go through hardship. Patience could be sitting silently and not doing anything. I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think patience has to do with not losing your faith and not committing acts that are sinful. So, in other words, these soldiers, I'm sure, as they took losses, they didn't just sit idly by and were quiet and waiting for the next battle. No, they worked hard. They prepared. They trained. They didn't give up on their mission. Okay, that's what patience is not giving up on your mission. Okay, so when times are tough, do you pray? When times are tough, do you still give to the poor? When times are tough, do you still do your duties and your responsibilities? Okay, now you could be upset. I don't think that's not allowed. You have emotions. Of course, the most zen, best place to be would be to be completely calm, collected, and cool during that process. But if somebody is not calm, collected, and cool, but still ultimately acts with justice and faith in mind, I would say that that person's actions are good and that person is patient. The idea of not being patient means starting to go to others other than God for help, and fearing those other than God. Um, Now, on some level, in the short term, we all can fail in the short term, especially if it's something that's very important to you, especially if the consequences are huge and major. There's even the greatest of men, you put them in a desperate situation, they might falter a little bit. It doesn't mean they lost their faith. It doesn't mean they didn't grow stronger. It doesn't mean they didn't realign. Okay. Um, but faltering can happen to the best of us. Okay. Even prophets have faltered. Okay. Prophet Yusuf, Joseph, he faltered a little bit. God had to reprimand him for asking help from someone other than God, being desperate. Um, this type of behavior, uh, um, it's faltering. But even prophets can do it. Okay, those are how the best of among us are tested, and you might not pass that test with flying colors. If you did, you know, you would be in the rank of prophets, or maybe higher, even like on some levels. Okay, but for most of us, if all your children have cancer, you're going to be going asking anyone for help. You're going to be trying to figure things out. You're going to be distraught. You're going to be in despair. Okay. You're going to be confused. You're going to be upset. Okay. All these things are going to happen. Okay. And I can't imagine somebody who will not go through these types of things. Now, there are people, maybe you could imagine people that are 80 years old, 90 years old. When they get to the end of their life, they might reach that level of like Zen, of just understanding that, hey, my children are not mine and I'm going to see them in the afterlife, and you're not going to be completely attached to anything in this life. You know, Perhaps somebody can have that level of Zen as they get old, they lived a full life, they've seen people come and go, and they could have that level of understanding. For the most of us, we have to try to not falter that much, minimize our faltering, okay, and try to be patient the best we can. Now, the worst version of not being patient is completely praying to a different God, okay? Your God's not helping, maybe you're or helping fast enough, you start praying to a different God, or rejecting God and just stop believing in God, okay, and stop praying altogether. There's people that might do that. Okay, there's people that might, you know, reach all types of results, horrible results that would make them act and behave in ways that are completely unacceptable. Okay, and then on the other side of the spectrum, some of us might be sad, upset, confused. We might, ask friends and family for help, guidance, that type of thing. On some level, that could be okay if it comes from the right place. If it comes from the wrong place, then it won't be okay. And so essentially, that's kind of the situation. Um, and yeah, so this verse is very important to me because it shows that God loves a certain class of people. He loves those that are patient. Okay, and it means a lot. There's another part of the Quran that I remember hearing where God loves those that are muttaqin, meaning those that rely on God. Okay, I don't know the citation for that off the top of my head, but God also loves those that rely on God for the results. So that's another thing you have to keep in mind, that be patient, rely on God for the results, and God will tells you He will love you. Okay, for that. And we all go through difficult times in life. The difficult times are guaranteed. Okay. It's guaranteed that the thing you fear the most is going to happen. I heard Andrew Tate saying that. And Andrew Tate is a very wise man, and he's a very amazing man. And he gets hate simply because he's a great man. No other reason. There's no other reason. If you're going to hate him for having multiple wives, then you're going to hate almost every single prophet. But you don't. Okay? It's not a sin in Islam to have more than one wife. And every prophet, most prophets had more than one wife. So you could throw the Abrahamic religions in the trash and then insult him for that. You could do that. That would be consistent. Okay. But other than that, you can't point to anything except the sexual work he did in the past, which which even he will say that he regrets to an extent. He had to do it, whatever. That was before he was Muslim. That was before he was more God conscious. But the fact of the matter is, and that's another debate that people can have as to what's the morality of it. I really don't know what type of webcams they were, if they were pornographic in nature or not. I really don't know. If they were, that would be a sin. Promoting unchastity and phalisha, which is sexual deviance, would be a sin to promote that in public. So he had a sinful past. We all have sinful pasts and often presents too. Okay. But a lot of the stuff since he's become religion that comes since he's become religious that has come out of his mouth is a lot of it is a lot of pure wisdom. Okay. I'm not saying you should follow him, but if I quote him, it's here or there because there's a couple of really good nuggets that he said. Just take it as that. Just look at the quotes that I said. That's it. And one thing he did say is, look, he said, I fear being separated from my brother, and that's the thing he fears the most. And he said that's how he knows for sure it's going to happen. And a lot of spirituality in life, it's like that. It's the thing you fear the most, the thing that's going to affect you the most, is the thing, exactly the thing that you're going to be tested with sooner or later. Okay. And and you have to be strong enough as a person with will and faith and patience and reliance on God to be able to weather that storm, to be able to keep going, to be able to understand that this life is an illusion. This life is nothing more than a temporary thing of entertainment, and we have to invest. We do invest. There things there to invest in. However, if you invest too much in terms of forming an attachment to your soul, to things in this life, things that you believe could help you or hurt you, in and of themselves. Once you form that belief, that thing will betray you. Okay, no matter what it is. Okay, and that's the system here, or God's decisions, or God's laws, where there's a spirituality decision here being made to make sure that you're not connected on a soul level to anything on this plane, on this earth. Okay, you're gonna leave all of it behind, and and all you're gonna take with you is your soul and your deeds. Okay, so the goal here is to do good deeds, live a good life, and everything you do in this life is only there to help you do good deeds and be a good person. And the second you form an attachment to that thing, then it will control you, and it can control you to do bad deeds and do sins. Okay, and that's the level that you don't want to be at. You don't want something to control you to do sins. Okay, for example, if you're super attached to your child, somebody could take your child as ransom and ask you if you want your child back to go murder an innocent person. That's the danger that could happen if you're too attached to something in this life. It could then control you. Your child could ask you and to do something sinful, and you might do it just to please your child. these are the examples of what happens when you fear things of this earth more than displeasing God. It could lead to evil, it could lead to sins, and it would lead to corruption in the world, and it will also lead to the corruption of your soul. And so when you get to heaven, you know, you might not get to heaven. You might just be corrupted and go to hell. Okay. So it corrupts you as a person. It corrupts the society, and there's a lot of negative consequences. Bettering yourself, becoming more free, becoming more independent, okay, are things which allow you to be free. And I believe God loves freedom, okay, and that's why it's good to get a job and make money and do these types of things, to work on your health so that you don't ever become in a desperate situation, okay, so that you won't ever be tempted to do evil, okay. So, on some level, the self improvement and becoming a better person in all regards is good to free you as a human being so that you can make the choice, the free choice to be good. If you're somebody that's dependent upon money or love or any type of attachment or family connection, if you're somebody that's dependent upon your job or anything, that thing will become something that's a weakness that you could be attacked from. The second that's not going good, okay, the second, is where the devil can enter. Okay, so that's why it's good to be strong in all regards, okay, and provide and give to those dependent upon you freely and openly so that they can be strong in all regards, okay, so that those under your dominion and in your influence can also be strong and free in all regards, okay. And this is how you can provide a shelter, a force field of good or potential good around you, where those around you are don't have to resort to desperate means and do evil in order to survive. Okay, and so in a spiritual and practical matter, that's why it's always important. Number one, you could build yourself strong, and number two, when the hard times do happen, you're patient and you rely on God. Okay, that's very important. And this type of wisdom is gleamed from the lessons of the Quran from God, and that's how you can extract a lot of these wisdom. And you know somebody who's applying this, they can be from any faith, okay. And I would mention Andrew Tate. He's Muslim now. He reads the Quran, but he's been contemplating these ideas as well, because that's where wisdom, wise people, that's where it would lead you to. Okay, it would lead you to these logical conclusions. Once you've experienced life enough, you've seen how people fall, you've experienced your own life, you've seen how you fell, okay? And he mentions even like heartbreak, being, having no options, feeling rejected, okay? It's very painful. He says to direct that pain to bettering yourself, okay? And you'll find that as you get better, you no longer feel attached to the thing you lost. You grow past it. Okay, so essentially, and this is from experience that he's speaking. In my experience, that's how life works. Okay, there's nothing in this world that you can be forever attached to, forever needing. It just doesn't happen. Okay, everything in this world, you can grow past it, leave it behind, and it's good to form healthy attachments, but that unhealthy attachment of holding you back, making you feel stuck, it doesn't belong to your soul. It's nothing God ever intended for you, and losses are going to happen. And we've seen a lot of that going on in the world these days, and all that can only remind us that this world is temporary. It's an illusion. Our goal is the afterlife, and that's something we always have to remember. And the second you forget that, that's when you're going to have loss and tests coming to you. Okay?